Dr. Manoj Kumar V. Hiremat, Assistant Professor of Law. He has 14 years of teaching experience and sir is a great mentor to all our students. Welcome you, sir. Principal sir will join us soon. A warm welcome to all my colleagues present here. At the outset, I would like to congratulate you all for choosing law as your professional course. Let me give you a quick overview of our college. KLE Law College was established under the umbrella of KLE Society, commencing with the 3-year LLB course in 1975, and ever since has expanded to offering the 5-year integrated programs BA LLB, BBA LLB, BCom LLB to meet the requirements of the globalized corporate world. We also offer postgraduation, that is Constitutional Law LLM and IPR LLM, besides offering PG diploma and certificate programs in trending subjects like aviation law, IPR law. We also have in pipeline to soon begin a research center for PhD aspirants. The college was affiliated to the Karnataka State Law University until 2020. From 2021, we are now a constituent college of KLE Technological University. Gaining autonomy is an honor and also an onus on the institution to offer a challenging curriculum to make the students industry ready. We have taken successful initiatives by implementing OBE, that is outcome-based education, in this regard. To facilitate holistic development of our students, equal encouragement is given for co-curricular and extracurricular activities, with sponsorship for moting, client counseling, legal drafting, etc., and all sports and cultural competitions. The college has been ranked as one of the top law schools by various media houses, continuous ranks backed by our students at the university level, and 50 of our students being appointed as civil and municipal judges are all testimony to our proven success. Our alumni have adorned positions in diverse fields of politics, business, corporate, administration, academia, entrepreneurship, etc., besides legal profession. I once again welcome you all to be a part of the KLE family and share this reverberating glory of our institution. To proceed with, I request Dr. Manoj Kumar V. Hiremat to share his insights about the career opportunities following graduation in law. Over to you, sir.
Good morning to all. Hello, namaskar. The object or the purpose of today's meeting is to communicate or to share with you as to what are the career prospects that are available to a law graduate. Usually, there is one understanding that a graduate of law will end up becoming a lawyer. That's the only profession available. That's not right. Today, law graduates have more career prospects, the job opportunities than any other graduate. So in next 20 minutes or so, I will just take you through a small presentation and also try to explain as to what are the career prospects available, what are the job opportunities that are available to a law graduate. Before that, just let me speak 2 minutes about legal education in general. This legal education, which prepares legal professionals, which is a global and noble profession. It's global as well as noble for the reason you go any part of the world, a lawyer has a role to play. And nowadays, since there is a lot of increase in the international trade and cross-border transaction, a lawyer has a role to play everywhere. And it's a noble profession because a lawyer is the one who is going to build a society. That's why they are called as a social engineers. So this legal education prepares social engineers. Whenever there is a dispute, wherever there is a legal problem, lawyers are required or the legal professionals are required to help the parties or the disputants to resolve their dispute and live in peace. Otherwise, they may end up fighting on their own, and that will disturb the peace. So that's why legal education prepares a social engineers, is what we say. Just like civil engineers build the structures, the lawyers, civil engineers, the lawyers are social engineers who build a society. And society is a laboratory for lawyers. So they work with the people, and they are the one with whom he will be using his knowledge or his skills to provide a remedy. So it's a education where holistic development is possible. Overall development of an individual is required, not just knowledge gaining, even the overall development is required. And in that direction, Kelly Law College makes all-round efforts to prepare a holistic personality by involving students in curricular, co-curricular, and extracurricular activities that I will be telling in the course of time. So there is a one saying, law applies from womb to tomb. When child is in the mother of womb, law starts applying. Even when person dies and is buried, a tomb is built on his burial. So still law operates with him or on him. So law is so pervasive. Law is so pervasive means it is everywhere. There is no any action of the individuals or the society which is not governed by law. So you starting from the birth or even before the birth and after the death also law applies. Be it a school enrollment, be it a driving license, be it a traffic rules, be it a marriage, registration, property, contract. You just name any transaction that takes place in day-to-day life, law has a role to play there. So that pervasive law is means lawyers have a lot of job to do. Legal professionals have a lot of scope to pursue. So in order to prepare an effective and efficient lawyers, we at KLE try to impart skills, not just knowledge, the skills required, maybe drafting, argumentative skills, negotiation skills, all those things and competencies will be developed. So as I was telling, there is a notion, an understanding among the general public that a law graduate ends up becoming a lawyer. No doubt, all law graduates can become lawyers. They can enroll as an advocate and start practicing. So these are the classical legal professions that are available. The moment you are a graduate of law, definitely you can start practicing as a lawyer after enrollment. Yes, if you are interested in a judicial service, you want to become a judge. Yes, after graduation, immediately, whenever the government makes a notification for appointment of judges, you can appear for that examination and clear that examination and become a civil judge or municipal judge. Earlier, there was some requirement that you have to practice for 3 or 5 years, then you have to take that exam. Now that requirement is taken off. Immediately after the graduation, whenever there is a notification, you can apply and get through the exam and viva, become a judge. And if you want to become a government lawyer, there is some examination. You must have heard. In case of criminal cases, there will be some person called public prosecutor who represents the state. Right? If you want to become a public prosecutor, yes, again you are eligible, but there is one requirement. You must have put in 5 years of service as a lawyer, then you can become a public prosecutor. If you want to become independent lawyer, from day one you can. But if you want to become a public prosecutor, you have to put in 5 years service. If you want to become a judge, whenever exam is notified, you have to take and become. So they're definitely known to most of you. Apart from that, in the maybe I can say post 1990s or so, new career opportunities have developed because of the lot of corporates coming into India, because of the globalization, privatization. So every company needs an in-house legal advisor. So means you are not going to code. You'll be there in the company as a legal advisor because every company needs to comply with so many legal requirements. Be it a company law, be it a law of contract, be it a labor law, be it environmental law. So there will be so many requirement compliance a company has to comply with. So for that, corporate legal advisor is required. Then many banks, all banks and insurance companies need a law officers, because in every bank and insurance company there will be some disputes or some claims. Insurance companies will be having claims by the insurance holders. So to process those claims, to check the legality or validity of all those things, in-house law officer is required for all the insurance companies and banking companies. Then nowadays you even must have heard about or must have come across about this something called arbitration. So whenever the parties don't want to go to court and resolve their dispute outside the court, there is one mechanism called arbitration. So it's like a private court where you appoint a third person as an arbitrator, and he helps you. He decides the dispute, just like a judge. So the law graduate can become arbitrator. And in arbitration, in front of the arbitrator, the lawyers only argue, just like in the court of law. So for that, again, the arbitration lawyers are required. So you can say arbitration practice. So that there also you have a lot of opportunities. If someone who is interested in documentation or processing and analysis of the documents, for them also there is a different set of job opportunity available, which is called as LPOs, legal process outcome outsourcing. Sorry, legal process outsourcing companies are there, just like you have BPOs, business processing outsourcing. There are LPOs. So many companies' documents will be shared with those LPOs, and LPOs need law graduates to read and understand those documents, analyze, summarize the facts, identify the claims, and prepare a summary and give it to the lawyers. In turn, lawyers will go and continue the case. So those LPOs also need law graduates. If you are someone interested to work kind of a desk job, sitting in a room, don't want to roam around, so there is such opportunity. Then nowadays you come across another set of professionals who's called mediators. See, without going to the court, without going to arbitration, the parties can resolve the disputes with the help of third neutral person who can help the parties to negotiate. Instead of fighting the court of law, they will negotiate. So that negotiation has to be facilitated or is helped by the mediator. So mediator, if he is a law graduate, he can guide the parties or help the parties to negotiate better. So that is another set of legal profession. Just to give you some statistics, if you see, there are more than 14 lakh companies registered in India. Means 14 lakh lawyers minimum required. Then 60 plus insurance companies are functioning in India. Few public sector like LIC or general insurance. Apart from that, all private insurance companies. There are 60 companies with so many branches. So each branch needs a law officer. It's not that just 60 lawyers. 60 insurance companies multiplied by maybe 100 branches. So many lawyers are required or law officers are required. Then you have more than 50 banks in India with multiple branches, right? Maybe it may go up to 1.4 lakh branches in India. So 1.4 lakh lawyers are required. So required to advise them with respect to the legal aspects relating to banking law. So like this, there are many startups are coming. You know that Bangalore is a startup capital. So every startup, any new small business venture has to be started. It requires to comply with so many legal requirements. Even if you want to start a small partnership kind of a business or LLP, limited liability partnership, lot of legal compliances needs to be carried out. For that, again, lawyers are required. So just to give a statistics about how many law graduates are graduated every year. So there are around 23 national law schools and many private law schools. So around these 50 top law colleges, including us, produces around 5,000 graduates, but demand is more than 50,000 or 5 lakh. So there is a lot of job opportunities or career prospects available to law graduates is what I would like to impress through this statistics. Then let me tell you a few more avenues where the career prospects available. These are called super specialization. just like you find a special super specialization in medicine. So even in legal profession, you have a super specialization. Like whenever you come across these kind of issues like bankruptcy, some company goes bankrupt, its assets are less than the liability. It has to be winded up. So then there is something called bankruptcy professionals. How to handle such a situation when when company goes bankrupt. So a separate set of professionals are working now. They are called as uh, IBC professionals. There is something called uh, bankruptcy code. To work on that, a separate set of professionals are required now. Then privacy professionals. Every company or every business entity collects the data of the customers, but their privacy has to be protected. How to protect the privacy of the individual customers? There is a law governing that to ensure that privacy professionals are working now. Then you have something called energy professionals. Lot of energy companies are coming up. So be it uh, this hydrothermal power or whatever new energy is being generated, it has to comply with a lot of legal requirements, especially environmental law requirements. It has to comply with labor issue and even the contract matters. So they need energy law experts, someone who is expert in energy law. Then real estate, you must have heard about RERA, Real Estate Regulation Act. So it's a super specialization to deal with these real estate company related issues. Then even aviation sector, so airlines, maybe commercial or as well as domestic airlines or this civil aviation, there is a lot of requirement to fulfill with aviation law and even the labor laws and environmental laws. Again, a super specialized laws are required for that. So like that, many super specialization, even for sports. You must have heard about anti-doping or betting and match fixing. So all such issues which are related to sports, super specialized lawyers are required who are well versed in such areas. Many of our students are working in this super specialized area. I will be just showing the pictures of our alumni who are working in this super specialized area. So it's not that these law graduates have only opportunities in a private sector. Even in a public sector, the law graduates have opportunities. No doubt, after the graduation, you can take any competitive exam which are where the basic qualification required is a graduate degree. So you can take KS, IAS, IPS, all examination. Apart from that, there are some specific opportunities available to law graduates in military. So there is something called Judge Advocate General. No doubt, a very small number of vacancies will be there, but a very prestigious and very important portfolio, I can say. So even without becoming a soldier, you can be a part of a military in the form of a judge advocate general. There will be a small examination. There are some special requirements like you should have a first class result and all those things. Then you have to appear for that, and you can be a judge advocate general within a military department where the disputes relating to the soldiers and the military personnel will be adjudicated. Then all these public sector units, what we call it as Navratnas, all public sector undertakings, be it HAL, be it BL, all these big companies or corporates that is being run by the governments, they also need law officers to look into the legal requirements of the industry. So there, some of our students have joined the public sector units, work with the legal cell of the this public sector. Then apart from that, even at the international level, this organizations, international level organization, maybe UNO or WHO, whatever international organization, there also there is need for law graduates. So someone who is interested in international law and takes up this study in international law little more seriously and in-depth analysis if he does, he can get into these international organizations also. Apart from that, this non-government organization you must have heard. There are many big NGOs that are working in India in various sectors. Like Greenpeace, it works for environment protection. PETA, it works for protection of animals. Then child rights, CRY, it works for child right protection. Amnesty International works with respect to corruption and such international related offenses. This Humsafar, it works for this orphans and the destitutes. Then Helpage India works for the age-old people. So all these non-government organization needs law officers and legal advisors because they will be getting a lot of funds from the different donators, international agencies, and they are involved in legal aspects only. Like Greenpeace, environment protection law is there. So in order to safeguard the environment, what all law needs to be complied by industries and all those things. If they are not complying, these NGOs will be fighting against that, and for that lawyers are required. Same is the case with PETA and CRY, Amnesty. Like this, there are many NGOs. One of our alumni is having her own NGO which works for child rights. Child rights. Her name is Rosie Toba, who is also a chairman of the, who is also member of the Child Right Commission of India, which is a constitutional body. Just show a picture in some time. And if someone who is more interested in reading, writing, carrying out research, and someone wish to become a teacher and want to be a continuous learner, for them also there are sufficient opportunities available. See, in a court of law or in maybe law college or maybe in a lawyer's chamber, you come across these law reports where the judgments of the Supreme Court and High Court will be printed and published. To print and publish them, again, they have to sit and read those judgments and find out the important points in it and publish it. For that, editors are required. Who can read and understand? It's only the law graduate who can read and understand a judgment. So these law publishers hire the service of law graduates. They will be working as assistant editors, then becoming the associate editors, and then become editors of the books. So one of our students is working in Eastern Book Company as an editor. So research assistants in research institutions. You must have heard about some think tanks like VD or maybe CLPR, which is there in Bangalore. These research-oriented organizations, they will be involved in research, carrying out research with respect to law and legal problems or the gray areas in the law. For that, again, they will be looking for law graduates who can read, analyze, identify the legal problems, prepare a report on that. Law correspondent, you must have seen, whenever any important case is going on in the High Court or Supreme Court, you see they are being reported either in the news channel or the newspapers. To report that, a law graduate is better equipped than a general journalist because he has to understand the legal terminologies and the legal aspects and then report it accordingly. So all these TV channels and newspapers also appoint law graduates as law correspondents. So again, there is availability of opportunity. Then there's something called legal drafting. Many a time, many lawyers, also even the companies, want some documents to be drafted, be it a contract agreement, be it a lease agreement, be it a rent agreement. So many agreements, partition deeds, will. Only you are interested in drafting, you are very good drafting, good at drafting, then you can have that as a career. Then judicial research assistant, this High Court and Supreme Court judges. No doubt this is a very limited tenure. For 1 year or 2 years, they will hire the service of the law graduates, where you have to go and work with the judges. They are called as judicial clerks, judicial research assistants. You have to work with the judge. Whenever they are writing a judgment, they will ask you to find out some case laws and do some research and help them. So if you work with a High Court or a Supreme Court judge for a year or two, definitely you will be well equipped to practice in the same court or in different courts. So that is also a paid job. Then you're something. If you're someone who interested in teaching, then you can pursue master's degree after your BBA LLB or BA LLB, BCom LLB or LLB, as the case may be. Even you can pursue MBA, MA, and become a teachers in the law colleges or management colleges or any other degree colleges. So this was about Bailey Law College. Madam has already told we have a 48 years of legacy standing in legal education. with the dynamic leadership of our principal and the chairman of the society and our vice chancellor of Gailey Tech University. And we have 4 different programs to cater to the different needs, where we emphasize on this something called outcome-based education, where outcome is more important, not just imparting the knowledge. We strive to prepare a skilled and proficient student by conducting different kind of programs and even by imparting different courses. Many add-on courses and value-added programs will be given to students. And for that reasons, definitely we are ranked one of the top law colleges in India. Just to give a glimpse of some of our alumni, I'll just take another 2 minutes. I just pasted recent ones. There are not many. You can just imagine 48-year-olds means at least I have 4,800 alumni who can be listed up. So Arjun Perikal, the first one, who is a head of the Amarchand Mangaldas, Shardul Mangaldas law firm, which is one of the top law firms in India today. Then second one, Karthik and Kanappan, is the head of legal cell in Infosys. Dr. Jagdish Chandra is a registrar of the Gujarat National Law University. Then Dr. Vishnu Prasad is associate professor and right now is working with Gailey Law College only after serving in National Law University of Bangalore and TNNLU. And Pavana Dibur was a vice chancellor of one of the private universities in Bangalore. Then there's Surbi Diwan on the top there. She is a Supreme Court practitioner and has her own law firm in Delhi. Then Suhas Hebur is working for CPW India, which is one of the leading analytical company. Then Chaitra Bhatt was working with a law firm in Delhi. Right now she is pursuing her master's in Cambridge University. Then Rosie Toba, I was telling, she is having her own NGO and she is also a member of the Child Right Commission. Then Barsha Singh is a MLA in Odisha. Recently she got elected as a MLA in Odisha. Then Ramit Rana is an IPR practitioner, intellectual property rights practitioner, and he has his own law firm in Delhi. Then Gaurav Mohan Mishra is in-house counsel in ICICI. He has worked in Reliance Finance, he has worked in HDFC, and has worked in Bajaj Allianz. Now he is heading a legal cell in ICICI. Then Agam Sharma is an advocate in Supreme Court of India, working with Newly Associates. Then Nitin Kushwa is a mediator in a Byju's. You must have heard about Byju's tutorial classes. So he works as a mediator there in a Byju's company. Then Anup Sheling, you must have heard this name. He's from a film industry now. He's a music director in Sandalwood, has composed many music to many movies in Kannada. Then Mr. Rohit Kamath is someone who works with, he's a legal consultant with the National Law School of India University and also has his own practice. Then Vignesh Kaimal, I was telling you about privacy professional. This Vignesh Kaimal is working for one of the companies in Bangalore as a privacy professional. His task is to draft a policy about the privacy of the customers or the consumers who have a transaction with. Then Smriti Singh. Smriti Singh is an in-house counsel for an insurance company. Then Ashirwad Tripathi is working for Ministry of Home Affairs in Delhi as a young professional. He is working. The designation itself is a young professional. Then Mr. Ananya Gupta, I was telling you about energy law. He works for an energy law company, so energy law firm, and he's also a consultant. So these are the few alumni who are working in a different sectors. No doubt, there are as many as 40 alumni of ours who have become magistrates or district judges, whose photos I cannot share, so I have not put it. So even High Court judges and Supreme District Court judges and magistrates are there from the alumni of our college. So just to give you the list of our recruiters, these are the companies or the law firms which visit our campus, or even without visiting directly, they sometimes place an order or give opportunity to our students through when they are pursuing their internships. HDFC, Bajaj Allianz, ICICI, Biocon, Infosys, Mindcrest. Some of these come on the campus. Some of them directly recruit our students based on their internship performance. So I have mentioned my own college, Kelly Law College, because right now, along with me, four of my students are working as a teachers here. Means they pursued their master's degree and they came back and working here as a teachers. So even Kelly Law College only hires its own graduates, and even Jindal Law School has some tutors from the Kelly Law College. Then some local law firms like Navadgi Associates, which is headed by the Advocate General, and Nagrala Associates, Navalgund Associates, again headed by our Additional Solicitor General within Navalgund. And even our students are there in a Step Next Legal, which is in New Delhi, a law firm, then Link Legal and Newly Associates. All these are the some law firms where our students are serving as associates. So I guess with that I complete my presentation. If you have any other questions, you can pose. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj sir. That was for sure educating about the innumerable opportunities for a law graduate. We have a principal who has joined us. To give you a brief introduction, the principal and professor, Dr. J. Mallikarjunaya sir, has been spearheading the institution for the past 20 years and is the backbone of the institution's profound success. And sir has 25 rich years of teaching experience. Welcome you, sir. Dear audience, the forum is now open to the much awaited session, the question and answer session with Principal Sir. You may kindly raise your hands, we shall pass on the mic to you.
Namaskara. Good morning to all of you. Before I can take your questions, I thought I'll make some initial remarks. At the outset, I must congratulate you for having decided to consider legal studies as one of the options. Most of you have already been admitted or you have made up your mind, and only the process that is to be completed, I believe. On a Saturday, that too when the traffic is mounting for the reasons best known to us, and lot of students are writing NEET exams there. Despite that, we have the house full of audience. That only indicates how much you are all concerned about the education of your children, how much youngsters are concerned about their future. Thus, it's a very welcome trend, I believe. While I congratulate you for taking so much interest in your future and the future of your children, I must also congratulate my admission team who has made this meeting possible. Well, about the society, about KLE Society, about KLE University, about KLE Law College, and the opportunities that are awaited for law graduates has been spoken about. Essentially, the legal education goes in English, and we are trying to bring forth the message through this commonly understood language. However, that doesn't stop you from asking questions in Kannada because after all the purpose is important. You may feel free. ತಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗದಿದ್ರೆ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಲೇಬೇಕು ಒನ್ಸ್ ದೇ ಜಾಯಿನ್. ಇವತ್ತು ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಈ ಕೋರ್ಸನ್ನು ಯಾಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಈ ಕೋರ್ಸನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾ, ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಹೇಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಮೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದೇ ಒಂದು ಬಹಳ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾದ್ದು. ಸೊ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಬ್ಯಾರಿಯರ್ ಆಗೋದು ಬೇಡ. ಏನಾದರೂ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳಿದ್ರೆ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಕೇಳಿ. And about the legal education, it has been spoken. There was a time when legal education was leading only to legal profession. Today, legal education is leading to so many job opportunities. ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಬೇಕು, ಯು ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಅವೇರ್ that not just in India, over the world. The role that is played by lawyers. It may sound philosophical, it may sound great or cliche, please bear with me. Aren't our children nation builders? Are we, uh, have we come here to train the nation builders, or we have come here to train our children who earn bread for us and bread for themselves? While education has become the tool for taking out our livelihood, making some wealth, and so on. Education has a primary purpose, all of us must understand. As a head of the institution, I have this responsibility to share with you and give you a call that our children must score well, our children must learn well, our children should get placed during fourth year or fifth year with good salaries. Well, that is very important. Let's all not forget that today I have an opportunity to address to parents. So I'm trying to make use of it, make use of this opportunity. While we give education to our children so that they start earning their livelihood and rest of the things. The primary purpose of education is not training them to get employment. It is to train them to become human. It's not philosophical, it's not cliche. There is a point in what I am saying. Let's all understand that. Education is, after all, man making. In our OBE setup, we are trying our best to inculcate such ideas and ideals in the minds of children. And I would request the cooperation from parents in understanding that aspect as well. Coming to the opportunities, when Dr. Manoj was showing you the glimpses of our alumni achievers, there are politicians, there are musicians, there are artists, there are lawyers, there are corporate employees, there are entrepreneurs as well. He was only showing you the latest achievers. People who have went on to become high court judges, people who have went on to become politicians. I must tell you at this stage, recently elected Priya Krishna is also the alumni of this college. So there are a lot of such achievers. I can only tell you that once you come, select this course, select this college, give your children in our hands, they get transformed all of a sudden. No, I may not say that. It's only our efforts. We are here to give our best, to make our humble attempt, to keep to our promises. In the course of so doing, how much you cooperate, how much you participate, how often you keep coming to the institution to check and challenge us. Today we are speaking so many things, whether they are getting slowly translated. Are the children doing their job? Are we doing our job? If you come, keep coming often to the institution, where all of us participate in this activity, the dreams with which you have come to attend this program today are certainly going to be reality, otherwise not. This caution we must give. Well, another reason why we are meeting today is this. Some of you have already made up your decision and taken admission. Some of you are yet to complete the process. For a variety of reasons, like CET exams are happening now. People who are writing CET exams are also going to come and join us. That will take another couple of months. Having got admitted another 2-3 months till September 4th, I'm sorry, till August 28th, right? Till August 28th, you are going to be at home. This time you must spend fruitfully is what we wish. What is spending your time fruitfully? You need not be start studying the subject that we have prescribed. You must develop some inclination towards reading. Start reading some literature that will provide some inclination, throw some light into the legal studies. We have called you today to make that appeal. In the course of time, we'll be sharing with you the list of books we advise you to study. We don't mandate, guys, because anything that is mandated is not appreciated. We advise you to study those books. That will give you a thrilling experience. Thrilling experience. If you start entering the portals of law college with that thrilling experience and anticipation, your learning becomes joyful, is what I believe. So we would request you to try and read those books, watch some video lectures and some movies. That will give you legal reasoning, how the law is to be studied, and so on. With this object in mind, today we have met here. And by now you have understood the employment opportunities that are awaited for law graduates, in addition to becoming the legal professional. We, of course, advise you to become a litigating lawyer, legal professional. However, the choice is yours. Legal profession not only gets you a lot of money, it also brings a lot of fame. And I was trying to tell you a while ago, if you may understand, we call lawyers the social engineers. Why we so call them? ನಾವು ಯಾಕೆ ಅವರನ್ನ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಎಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಈ ಸಮಾಜವನ್ನ ಉತ್ತಮ ದಾರಿಯೆಡೆಗೆ ನಡೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಲಾಯರ್ ಮೇಲಿದೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಇನ್ ಲಾ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಡಿ. ಯು ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ರಿಕಾಲ್, ನಾಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ, ನಮಗೆ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ತಂದುಕೊಟ್ಟವರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇವತ್ತು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಕಟ್ತಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಮೆರಿಕದಂತ ಮುಂದುವರೆದ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಆಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, everywhere lawyers in the forefront. So I come back and congratulate you once again for having given serious thought to start legal education. Wish you all the best in your journey, and it's time now to have any kind of question is most welcome. Let's start our journey with a lot of clarity in mind. In order to give that clarity, we have met today. And before I conclude, 28th August, our academic start. 28th, all parents and students are invited to participate in what is called induction program. Followed by that, from 29th, regular classes will start for your children. Since children come from different backgrounds, some of them come from commerce, some from science, arts, and so on, we have thoughtfully designed a 6-day program to bring all of them on common understanding. We conduct what are called bridge classes for about a week's time. Followed by that, the regular academics will commence. However, all that you have got to know is from 28th, the academics for admitted candidates commence. Now that I gave you a call, you shall not be wasting your time at home. You shall be watching some movies that we prescribe, some video lectures, and some books that to read. In addition to this, we have planned to start about a 10 days coaching program for all the admitted candidates. However, I must tell you, it is not mandatory, though I strongly recommend. Better avail this facility. From 21st August, I hope I am not confusing. From 28th, it is mandatory, your academics will commence. From 21st, we have planned a week's program, 8 to 10 days program, to train you in the skills that are required for the lawyer and introduce you to the legal studies. We have developed our own module. That would be a very joyful learning experience. I request all of you to take time out and attend that program. Our team, in course of time, will share the details with you. I think with this, once again, I thank you very much, and I appreciate really the kind of concern that you are taking, that you are showing in the future of your children. Those of you joined here in the capacity of parents, I'm sure will agree with me, our generation was not so fortunate. Our parents have never entered the portals of any institution to put us into any school. we would only be grateful to them that they did allow us to continue our education and higher education. Of course, they had their own reasons for doing so. Thank you once again for the participation. Thank you.
Students and parents, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. You could ask in any language.
Course. Hi. Firstly, super thrilled being inside this campus and hearing out to wonderful speakers, both the principal and vice principal. So, ಒಂದು ಖುಷಿ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಾ ಬೇಜಾರಾಗಬೇಕು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ parents ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು I'm not a parent, my wife is joining the college. So, and I wanted to tell you all people who are here that law is not just an education, like principal was rightly highlighting. It's way more beyond just an education. So today it's so exciting and thrill for both of us. Like she's like, okay, I want to know the law of the land. I want to practice in the I want to learn. I want to practice in the system. That's a appreciating factor for me. And I really respect her for that. And by the way, we have a small kid. We're trying to manage all of that, and then she's trying to come to college and proceed. And then the thing is like what that was really nice is like you said, why somebody has to study law and giving humans to the society is most important today. That's a great thing. So I wanted to request to play the last slide on the placement part of it, so I can take a quick capture of it.
Thank you, everyone. I must thank you, everyone. I think I'm audible, right? I must thank you, everyone, because I'm sure she's assuring one more admission for next year. The kind of motivation that is brought in you, I'm sure one more admission is awaited.
Yeah, definitely.
Looking forward to it. Yes. This is the one that having gone through this list of recruiters, I must tell you, even ಕನಸು ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ those dreams that which you are here. Reaching those dreams happens mostly through the your participation in the activities. In the law school, there are activities like moot courts, mock trials, how to interview the client, how to counsel the client. These activities periodically keep happening. Some of the activities happen compulsorily, some of them are optional. You may go outside the college and participate in those activities too. Which activities are actually sponsored by the college? Your active participation in such activities, plus, very important, the internships that you go will make you ready for these deployments. You will get to understand much more than your teacher will tell you. Through your participation in co-curricular activities and the internships. You have got to do minimum 5 internships if you are in 5-year course, 3 internships if you are in 3-year course. That actually take you closer to your dream. Hence, please do keep that in mind. Those of you met me in my chamber, I must have told you. For parents, I'm sure without forgetting, I must have told them, I'm not here to look after your children. I look after your children if you are coming at least once in a semester. This I must have told you. And for all the students, I must have told earning good marks, sitting in library, going to the classes regularly, participation in continuous assessment, you are there to do it, you will do it. What is more important is hurrying to participate in co-curricular activities. That we announce periodically and give you a call to register in those programs. Never ever postpone to participate in those programs. To drive the point home, I would be telling every young person, if you are afraid that you will fail, better fail faster. So that you are one step near to success. I have a point to drive home with this. So start participating so quickly, then always come closer to you. Yeah.
There are many integrated courses like BA LLB, BCom LLB, and stuff. So, is it actually make differences between each? Like one of my friend, she's a lawyer. She told me that only if you take BCom LLB, you are eligible for corporate law and stuff. Is that actually true, or there are no barriers for anything?
Now that we have three integrated courses, BALLB, BBALLB, and BCom. The idea of integrating courses, I'll tell you first. For a long time, it was the three-year course, three-year LLB course that was primarily there to start with. In 1994, or even before that, five-year LLB course came, integrating BA with LLB, thus BA LLB. Later, due to the emergence of the corporate world and the employment opportunities in the corporate world, the other subjects like BBA LLB, BCom LLB, BSc LLB started getting integrated. Primarily, the purpose of integrating art subjects with law, commerce subjects with law, and other subjects with law. The primary object is that a lawyer needs to know a lot of things other than law. We say he has to be jack of all in order to be good professional. He has to know technology, he has to know society, he has to know economics, he has to know political science because he is the answerer to the problems of the society. All the subjects with which the society is concerned, lawyer has to be concerned. That is the reason initially we started clubbing art subjects with the law. Subsequently, in order to address the requirements of corporate world, we started introducing business administration, how the business is run, what are the subjects, finance, accounts, etc. Thus, in order to make ready the law graduate effectively handle the requirements of legal profession, requirements of law jobs in corporate world. Some subjects that matter have been introduced. Thus, the combination of what we call as non-law subjects into law subjects started happening. Coming straight to the question, is it true that BCom LLB will have a red carpet entry into corporate world? BBA LLB will have such an opportunity. BA LLB candidates will be less preferred. Is it so? Is the question. Alright? I'll come with the answer now. It's actually not like that. Take it from me and believe me. BCom LLB graduate can be the best lawyer practicing in the courts. BA LLB graduate can be the best corporate advocate. How are the recruiting agency going to weigh the specialization is the question. Definitely, BCom LLB and BBA LLB candidates are most likely to have an edge over BA LLB in recruitment, right? Because even if I am sitting this side, I believe if you have taken BA LLB, you may not have been exposed to business related courses, finance related courses, and you may have started your journey to become a lawyer. Somehow, accidentally, you must have changed your mind. Is what I think if you are a BA LLB candidate appearing before the corporate world. However, the kind of internships that you have done, kind of publications that you have done, the way you have answered my questions may make me brush aside such impressions and readily accept you to recruit. Similarly, it happens with becoming or BBA. When he gets into a big litigation firm, again the kind of internships that he has done, he must have done internship under advocate general's office, under a judge, under a senior advocate. He must have done trial advocacy. For his good fortune, he may know local language like Kannada. Even though you have become an LLB, I'm going to have you readily. So, to a very limited extent, ready impression is BBA LLB and BCom LLB wanted to go to corporate, so they have so studied. There can be a ready impression. However, there is no hard and fast rule that BA LLB doors are closed for them in the corporate world. No. BCom LLB, BBA LLB, you can't come and practice, you can't become the just no. That's it. Fine.
Hello, morning to everyone. Uh, my question is actually directed towards 3-year LLB program that you have. So, what's the difference between the 3-year LLB program and other 5-year integrated courses that you're talking about? So, how is that going to make a difference when you basically pursue that now instead of the 5-year integrated program?
Difference as to
As compared to the 5-year program,
opportunities,
in
right?
terms of opportunities and
Yes,
also
yes.
the status in the society.
Okay. Opportunities that are being spoken about are wide open equally for 3-year and 5-year. First of all, in terms of, let me answer the question as well. The status. Status would depend on our journey after we take up job or after we take up profession. How well we have burnt the midnight oil. As a result, showed the results to our clients or to our master. That would determine our status, whichever job that we would be taking up is what I would say. Then I would like to answer this question with respect to the equipment. How 5-year LLB course graduates would be equipped to take up the opportunities. How a 3-year LLB course candidate will be equipped. I think we'll speak about it, right? Whether 3-year LLB candidates will be less equipped compared to 5-year to take up the opportunities that we are speaking about. I think we'll deliberate this question. Is that okay? Well, there are two ways of looking at it. We do expect aspirants of legal education to get committed with legal education at their early age. That is after +2 education. That speaks of their commitment to legal education. They would be, I don't know if I can say that with due respect to guys who have opted a 3-year course. Because of the pressure of parents, because of the rigor that the institutions bring in, because of their young age, they are expected to be, they will be more serious than the people pursuing the other course is one understanding. And having lived with legal studies and with this attitude and approach towards legal studies for 5 years, having completed 5 internships as against 3 internships. 5-year law graduates, assumably, has an edge over 3-year law graduates. Is what the society assumes. That's why I carefully said assumably. I'll tell you why I say so. Whatever I'm saying may happen so with respect to corporate employments. But when it goes to lawyering, 5-year course LLB students are to establish more strongly before the judges than the 3-year course graduates. I'll tell you why. Judges generally think 5-year LLB course candidates are more theoretical. More theoretical. They are not as matured as the people who come from 3-year LLB stream. And I was telling you, generally, not no, definitely. Generally, 5-year course students are more serious and they have done a lot of moot courts and they'll start doing the work that they have done in moot courts and they'll not know what the society demands, what the court practice actually is. Thus, they may turn out to be more classroom type of arguments. Thus, generally, in legal profession, judges do not readily accept 5-year course graduates. 5-year course graduates have to show that they have language, they have communication skills, they have knowledge, and they also know how society operates. They have to show that since they are youngsters, they take a little more time in showcasing that when compared to 3-year course. This is one understanding. If you look at other way around, I was telling you a while ago, a lawyer needs to know more than law, other subjects in the society. Law is around him, either in the books now today at the click of the button. Lot of legal knowledge is available. He may call in here and he may apply it. But how society operates, the other subjects, he need to know law so that he will interpret the law well. This ability naturally comes in a better way to the 3-year graduate because of the obvious reason that he is more senior when compared to 5-year graduate and he has already completed one graduation. So there are pros and cons. Right? But for this, again, I come back to the point that I made. The way we burn our midnight oil, that way it works. Thank you. Observations.
Good afternoon, sir. My question was, does our success in law career depend upon in which college do we study? Like suppose we get into some top law colleges in India and study there. Does our career can we claim successful then, or how we participate and go along in any college we go into? Because I believe our top colleges give us a competitive edge in the corporate and in an overall career. But I just wanted to know what you feel about it.
Well, the question is profound, but the answer is not profound. I'll tell you why. Bear with me, the answer is yes and no. I'll tell you how yes or no. I'm sorry for a lot of parents and young persons are there. Sometimes, it is said engineers lack communication, doctors' writing can never be understood, lawyers' speech is hardly understandable. Isn't it? Because our profession is like that. For others, while 2 plus 2 is 4, for us, 2 plus 2 can not always be 4. Sometimes it will be 5, sometimes it will be 3. Don't blame me saying that yes, we know lawyers can make black the white, white the black. It might sound like that for the society, but the lawyers do not really make white the black, black the white. The needs of justice must have demanded them to show black the white, white the. Thus, when I say for his profound question, answer is yes and no. It might sound like confusing, but I'll defend why I say yes, why I say no. As the young man was saying, will the candidates from some law schools will have a competitive edge and others will not have. Yes, there are different classes of law schools. There are national law schools, there are private universities like us, there are affiliated law colleges who are also doing good. There are some law colleges below that as well. In all types, the rigor that is brought in, the meaningful work that is carried out varies. Without being derogatory, without being without not being illful about the very national law schools itself. If I may have to quote a legendary judge, none other than DYC, Dhananjay Chandrachud, he himself openly, of course, rightly says, all the national law schools are not worth the name they keep. There are some law schools who are really doing well. Similarly, private universities and other law schools. Coming back to the answer, yes, national law schools, KLE, private law schools, crime, and so many others. Because of their name, recognition, their standing, and the kind of name that has been brought to those institutions through the students. There is already a mark, they have already made a mark in the industry. Thus, students going from these institutions will have a competitive edge. Let me confess and tell you. National law school students, only few of the national law schools, may have a better competitive edge over my students. And my students may have competitive edge over other private universities. This competitive edge we are speaking about, you will have to some extent only to get into the employment. After you get into the employment, there are a lot of instances that we have come across, all have come across. How good a job you do, how you defend the employment you have procured, that would determine. That's why I would suggest mantra is to burn the midnight oil continuously. Equip yourself. No employer is going to pay you just because you come from national. Any employer generally gets influenced that you are a national law schoolite, you are a KLE, you will have an edge over others. I'll first invest. Unless you perform, having taken up that employment. The competitive edge I'm talking about will not continue. Will not continue for long. I think that serves the answer. I'll just tell you, there are two things. We say learning will be at its best. Learning will be at its best when the learning becomes joyful experience. Learning cannot be made joyful experience from one side. Each side is important. Having taken up this course, commit yourself to find joy in this. For whatever reason you think the joy is missing, don't do anything inclusive of pursuit. So when it becomes joyful experience, learning continues. And when learning continues, reaching your dreams become reality without any doubt. With this prelude, I must tell you, why is very exciting. I must tell you, joy in learning is available ready in legal studies. If somebody has told you, somebody comes to tell you law is boring, law demands a lot of reading, no, don't ever believe in that. If you have to get convinced with what I am saying, that law gives you joyful experience, joyful learning experience. Law is interesting. Law is not boring. If you want to demonstrate it to yourself instead of just listening from me and agreeing to me, you must do that as of what I was addressing a minute ago. Watching film movies like Merchant of Venice, The Judge, Killing of the Mockingbird, Greatness for the Pursuit. There are a lot of them. We will share a few of them. Go through them. That will give you some information. And these days it so happened. There are a lot of courses also that we have suggested. One is called the Law Students Toolkit. Law Students Toolkit, which is available in a platform called Coursera, which you may freely watch. If you want certificate, only then you have to pay. Look at the kind of joy that you get when you go through that, and kind of equipment with which you start attending your classes. Then your journey is going to be, you are going to have a fantastic starting. Similarly, there is another. I'll only speak about these two. There is another lecture series under the title Justice. The other title for it is what's the right thing to do? If you Google with these tools, Justice by Michael Sandel, what's the right thing to do? It's also known as, you'll be surprised to hear this expression, moral side of murder. Can there be a moral side to murder? Isn't the title interesting? Type this and go through the kind of issues. We call them conundrums. Conundrum means a riddle. Riddle is difficult to resolve, right? Riddle is a puzzle very difficult to resolve. Such riddles lawyer would face. While resolving those riddles, as I was telling you a while ago, 2 plus 2 becomes 3 or 5 or not 4. That's the kind of joyful experience a lawyer will always attend to. If there are no more questions, I would request you to go through. I request my colleague Manoj Kumar to play a video of 55 minutes video lecture for 6 minutes. First 6 minutes, let him play. I hope and believe that would create interest in you and go back and watch those lecture series completely. 24 or 48? 24 lectures of 30 minutes. If you go through them, the kind of, they are indeed the great reasons for you. If you can go through them, that would be great.
Just watch first 6 minutes, you get some idea. A kind of interest gets generated so that you can watch it later at home. It's freely available on YouTube.
Pause it for a while. Anyway, this is not our material. This comes from the Harvard Law School. The professor who would be speaking now is a philosophy professor in Harvard Law School. That is why I was telling you, non-law subject experts are more important in law school. Because for lawyers, not only law, all other subjects matter. And today, no good law school would complete their studies without making reference to this aspect. That's the reason I think all of you to go through this. And now we'll play it for about 6 to 8 minutes.
This is a course about justice, and we begin with a story. Suppose you're the driver of a trolley car, and you're trolley car is hurtling down the track at 60 miles an hour. And at the end of the track, you notice 5 workers working on the track. You try to stop, but you can't. Your brakes don't work. You feel desperate because you know that if you crash into these 5 workers, they will all die. Let's assume you know that for sure. And so you feel helpless until you notice that there is, off to the right, a side track. And at the end of that track, there's 1 worker working on the track. Your steering wheel works, so you can turn the trolley car, if you want to, onto the side track, killing the 1, but sparing the 5. Here's our first question. What's the right thing to do? What would you do? Let's take a poll. How many would turn the trolley car onto the side track? Raise your hands. How many wouldn't? How many would go straight ahead? Keep your hands up, those of you who would go straight ahead. A handful of people would. The vast majority would turn. Let's hear first. Now we need to begin to investigate the reasons why you think it's the right thing to do. Let's begin with those in the majority who would turn to go onto the side track. Why would you do it? What would be your reason? Who's willing to volunteer a reason? Go ahead, stand up.
Because it can't be right to kill 5 people when you can only kill 1 person instead.
It wouldn't be right to kill 5 if you could kill 1 person instead. That's a good reason. That's a good reason. Who else? Does everybody agree with that reason? Go ahead.
Well, I was thinking it was the same reason on 9/11 with regard to people who flew the plane into the Pennsylvania field as heroes because they chose to kill the people in the plane and not kill more people in big buildings.
So the principle there was the same on 9/11. It's a tragic circumstance, but better to kill 1 and so that 5 can live. Is that the reason most of you have, those of you who would turn? Yes? Let's hear now from those in the minority, those who wouldn't turn. Yes?
Well, I think that's the same type of mentality that justifies genocide and totalitarianism. In order to save one type of race, you wipe out the other.
So what would you do in this case? You would, to avoid the horrors of genocide, you would crash into the 5 and kill them?
Presumably, yes.
You?
Yeah.
Okay, who else? That's a brave answer. Thank you. Let's consider another trolley car case and see whether those of you in the majority want to adhere to the principle better that 1 should die so that 5 should live. This time you're not the driver of the trolley car, you're an onlooker. You're standing on a bridge overlooking a trolley car track. And down the track comes a trolley car. At the end of the track are 5 workers. The brakes don't work. The trolley car is about to careen into the 5 and kill them. And now, you're not the driver. You really feel helpless until you notice, standing next to you, leaning over the bridge, is a very fat man. And you could give him a shove. He would fall over the bridge, onto the track, right in the way of the trolley car. He would die, but he would spare the 5. Now, how many would push the fat man over the bridge? Raise your hand. How many wouldn't? Most people wouldn't. Here's the obvious question. What became of the principle? Better to save 5 lives even if it means sacrifice 1. What became of the principle that almost everyone endorsed in the first case? I need to hear from someone who was in the majority in both cases. How do you explain the difference between the two? Yes.
The second one, I guess, involves an active choice of pushing the person down, which I guess that person himself would otherwise not have been involved in the situation at all. And so to choose on his behalf, I guess, to involve him in something that he otherwise would have escaped is, I guess, more than what you had in the first case, where the 3 parties, the driver and the 2 sets of workers are already, I guess, in the situation.
But the guy working, the one on the track off to the side, he didn't choose to sacrifice his life any more than the fat man did he?
That's true, but he was on the tracks. And
this guy was on the bridge. Go ahead, you can come back if you want. All right, it's a hard question. You did well, you did very well. It's a hard question. Who else can find a way of reconciling the reaction of the majority in these 2 cases? Yes.
Well, I guess in the first case where you have the 1 worker and the 5, it's a choice between those 2, and you have to make a certain choice, and people are going to die because of the trolley car, not necessarily because of your direct actions. The trolley cars run away, banging in, you're making a split-second choice. Whereas pushing the fat man over is an actual act of murder on your part. You have control over that, whereas you may not have control over the trolley car. So I think it's a slightly different situation.
All right, who has a reply? Oh, that's good. Who has a way, who wants to reply? Is that a way out of this?
I don't think that's a very good reason because you choose to, it's either way you have to choose who dies because you either choose to turn and kill the person, which is an active conscious thought to turn, or you choose to push the fat man over, which is also an active conscious action. So either way you're making a choice.
Do you want to reply?
Well, I'm not really sure that that's the case. It just still seems kind of different, the act of actually pushing someone over onto the tracks and killing him. You are actually killing him yourself.
You're pushing him with your own hands.
You're pushing him. And that's different than steering something that is going to cause death into another. You know, it doesn't really sound right saying it now.
No, it's good. I'm up here. It's good. What's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew, let me ask you this question, Andrew.
Yes.
Suppose standing on the bridge next to the fat man, I didn't have to push him. Suppose he were standing over a trap door that I could open by turning a steering wheel like that. Would you turn?
For some reason, that still just seems more wrong.
Right?
I mean, maybe if you accidentally like leaned into the steering wheel or something like that. But or say that the car is hurtling towards a switch that will drop the trap. Then I can argue with that.
Fair enough. It still seems wrong in a way that it doesn't seem wrong in the first case to turn, you say.
And in another way, I mean, in the first situation, you're involved directly with the situation. In the second one, you're an onlooker as well.
All right.
So you have the choice of becoming involved or not by
All
pushing
right.
the fat.
Let's forget for the moment about this case. That's good. Let's imagine a different case. This time you're a doctor in an emergency room, and 6 patients come to you. They've been in a terrible trolley car wreck. 5 of them sustain moderate injuries. 1 is severely injured. You could spend all day caring for the 1 severely injured victim. But in that time, the 5 would die. Or you could look after the 5, restore them to health, but during that time, the 1 severely injured person would die. How many would save the 5? now is the doctor. How many would save the one? Very few people. Just a handful of people. Same reason, I assume. One life versus 5. Now consider another doctor case. This time you're a transplant surgeon, and you have 5 patients, each in desperate need of an organ transplant in order to survive. One needs a heart, one a lung, one a kidney, one a liver, and the 5th, pancreas. And you have no organ donors. You are about to see them die. And then it occurs to you that in the next room, there's a healthy guy who came in for a checkup. And he's, you like that? And he's taking a nap. You could go in very quietly, yank out the 5 organs, that person would die. But you could save the 5. How many would do it? Anyone? How many? Put your hands up if you would do it. Anyone in the balcony? You would? Be careful, don't lean over too much. How many wouldn't? All right, what do you say? Speak up in the balcony, you who would yank out the organs. Why?
I'd actually like to explore a slightly alternate possibility of just taking the one of the 5 who needs an organ who dies first, using therefore healthy organs to save the other 4.
That's a pretty good idea. That's a great idea, except for the fact that you just wrecked the philosophical point. Let's step back from these stories and these arguments to notice a couple of things about the way the arguments have begun to unfold. Certain moral principles have already begun to emerge from the discussions we've had. And let's consider what those moral principles look like. The first moral principle that emerged in the discussion said, the right thing to do, the moral thing.
I hope some of you are finding it interesting by now. The kind of narration is giving and the kind of thought process starts. So you will experience more and more such things in the classrooms in the days to come. So I, as principal sir suggested, so in next 60 days or so, when you are at home before coming to either bridge course or the induction program at your convenience, do watch these series, listen to them, discuss with your friends, discuss with your family members. You'll definitely be well equipped and you are ready, more ready than what you are today to start your journey in this college. So I guess with that, we have come to the end of the program. Over to Deepa.
Well, the whole idea was to let you understand how the dilemmas of life lie. We have witnessed just now. It was all, we have also witnessed people dividing in their answers. Few wants to save 1, few wants to save 5. All of them have their own reasons. What's the right thing to do out of them? A devil's advocate would say, killing 5 is not my through conscious choice, whereas killing 1 is through my conscious choice. Better go without my conscious choice, whatever it is. Whereas consequentialist reasoning and other kind of advocate things, it's good. But is it lawful? The kind of dilemmas are going to be the subject matter of your study. The whole object of introducing this to you is that if you are ready to find joy in legal studies, it is important. I think with this, if there is any question, we will take. Otherwise, I request Madam Deepa to end the session. Before she does that, if there is any more question, I will take.
If there are any questions, anything related to college, your course, anything, please feel free to ask. Thank you, Principal Sir, for your time, for the elaborate and encouraging talk and answering all those queries in detail. Thank you, Mr. Manoj Kumar Sir, for the talk on prospective careers. Thank you, Mr. Uday, for the technical help rendered. Last but most important, a gratitude to be expressed to our dear students, parents, and spouses for making time to be a part of the event at the college venue and being an inquisitive audience. We hope and look forward to continuing this association into a fruitful endeavors in future. The recording of this event will always be available on our college YouTube channel. You can watch it at any time. Wish you all the best. Good day. Yes. Meanwhile, when we said about what you would do for the next 3-4 months, we will circulate the list of books, the videos, the movies, and